Chuck McCann.
We love you, Chuck.
I love you. Oh, my pleasure. On behalf of Paul Ashley, my partner, and we date back all the way back to Jim Henson, and we all started about the same time, and all these little characters were built out of plastic wood, and the molds and designs, and all the fun putting together, and the creativity of being able to put these on and become someone else is, to me, one of the most outstanding gifts that God gave me. And it was just so wonderful to be able to perform all these years on television for the children of New York and Connecticut and so forth, and New Hampshire and wherever else we went. And it was just astounding. And Bernie Brillstein, I don't know if you know this or not, but Bernie Brillstein signed Jim and I at the same day. And we were both together. Bernie it was his first job as an agent. And Jim and I both signed with Bernie, and we were his first clients at William Morris. Yeah, a great agent, great guy, and Jim Henson, the best, So Paul was very close to Jim, and I mean, we all puppeteers were close. I did my show with Paul at WNEW, which was on 67th Street, and Jim was right down the street. So we were always bumping into each other and saying hello and so forth and so on. And it was fun. And I did a 4-hour show on Sunday on WPIX. And that was just going in with these guys, putting them on and talking, never knowing what was going to come out of my mouth. You can't write, a 4-hour show. Kind of hard. I tried to one time. There was a friend of mine, when I first got my show, I said, no, what am I going to do, So I was doing the Sandy Becker show. And Sandy, God bless him, if anybody remembers Sandy, we had some great times together. Paul and I went in and we started to write the Becker show. Well, I sat with another gentleman friend of mine, and we started writing. And it was like we wrote for 3 solid weeks of doing material and everything. I went in with reams of paper to WNEW, which was Dumont at that time. And I got into the studio, and the first thing that happened was this rainstorm. It was just terrible. And I couldn't get into the door. I was about to go on, and I'm looking at the watch, and it's like the time is going, and I realized I was trying to get in the front doors of the studio. The stage door was in the back. And I ran around, and the guy said, come on, you're on in 5 minutes. And I ran into the national anthem and sat down, and the rest was history for me. I just went on and on and on, day after day, and Sundays, 7 days a week, and doing these wonderful, wonderful flights of fantasy. And it was just great, So puppeteering is just a marvelous, marvelous experience. If you ever get to do a lot of television, I'm sure that all of you do. And if you haven't, try it. Or get on the internet. That's the beauty now. We have the internet. And it's so wonderful to get on there and create your own channel and put your stuff up. you know? Now everybody can see you. And it's worldwide. So if you catch on, boom, bam, boom, before you know it, you're all over the world. Isn't that fabulous?
It is wonderful.
Am I talking too much?
No, you're not.
Okay.
I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
You mentioned Paul Ashley.
Yes.
We here at UConn, as we study puppetry, we feel that it's very important to know of the past. We need to understand that you're standing on the shoulders of giants. Can you talk more about Paul?
I am not only going to talk about Paul, the only reason I'm here tonight is because of Paul. Paul Ashley was my partner from the very, very beginning. I met a friend of mine, his name was Jimmy Burrell. He was a singer in a movie called, and in a show on Broadway called This Is the Army. And he was in service with Paul. And I was at my friend's table for breakfast. My dad and I were good friends of his. And he said to me, you know, you've got to meet a friend of mine named Paul Ashley because he does puppets. And I said, really? I said, geez, I love puppets, you know, and I've been trying to make them myself and stuff. But he said, well, he does brilliant puppets. And the rest was history. We met, and from then on, we started doing things together. And then I wound up being asked to do television. And I said, well, I can't do television without bringing Paul in. And believe it or not, they said to me, well, we don't want anybody else. We just want you. I said, well, I'm not doing it then. And they said, are you sure? I said, absolutely. So I said, I tell you what. I said, I went and I hired Paul. And I brought him in with me. And that's how, you know, cheap they were in those days in television. They wouldn't pay for anybody. So it was you know, when you're flying by the seat of your pants. And I brought Paul in, and together we kind of made history in television in New York City. And then, of course, everybody wanted him and us to do the show. But that's how it all started, you know. I mean, if you look at these beautiful creatures, you think, you know, I designed Mr. McNasty. May I?
Yes.
Yes.
He's kind of a blustering guy. See, we'll put him on here. Be careful. All right. I'm not a ventriloquist, but I hold on. Well, it's about time. There I am. Hi, my name is Eugene. I say Eugene McNasty. Get me off. Why? Your hands are cold. No. And sweaty. No. All right. Well, what the heck? Where's Judy? Oh, did you see her? Yeah. Love Judy. Yeah. Well, let me tell them about Judy Garland, okay? All right, if you have to. Put me back on the rod, but be careful this time, all right? First, Paul and I did a very early show, years and years ago, called the Ed Sullivan Show.
Bravo.
You know, but Paul and I did that show, and it was so remarkable. Ed was so kind. He was the sweetest man in the world, and he said to me, "You got to do this show every week." And in fact, he said that on the air. You know, we were stood back, our mouths were hanging open. He said, "You just saw Paul Ashley and Chuck McCann, and those puppets are going to be with us every week, so they should." I stood backstage and we went, "What?" We had other commitments and everything. Going to you know? No, but anyway, what happened was, I mean, he would bluster out these things. God bless him. Ed Sullivan was something else. I almost killed him. I swear to God, this is the truth. He was living at the Delmonico Hotel off Park Avenue. And I'm driving down the street in a convertible. I had a caddy convertible. I lived on 69th Street, right near the studio. And all of a sudden, I'm driving along, and this man steps out off, you know how Park Avenue has this island going up the middle? This guy steps off the curb, and I go, yo, and I stop, and I swear to God, right in the front of the car of my convertible is Ed Sullivan. And he's like, oh, hi, Chuck. You're just the man I wanted to see. He said, call me immediately. So I went to, I said, great, Ed, great. Nice bumping into you. So I swear this is gospel truth. This is the way it happened. I went home and I got on the phone and I called the Ed Sullivan office and I spoke to somebody who put secretary, who was a man at the time, and he said, here's Ed. He says, Ed, I want you to do our show Sunday night and Saturday night and Saturday. I said, how long is the show? He says, 2 hours. And I said, what am I going to do, you know? So he said, do whatever you want and come and see me. And that's what we did. We did whatever we wanted. And it was so wonderful. We did Garland, we did all those things. And it was a lot of fun working with Mr. Sullivan. Unfortunately, Ed at the time, I did a show called Clown Around. And that was a 2-hour special with Ed, where I worked with everybody dressed up as clowns. We were all clowns on that show, including Ed. He was a clown. I want to tell you, he was just perfect. If ever, I'm going to put that up on my internet. Honest does that. We're going to put that up in about a week. So when we get home, I'm going to put the Clown Around show up on the internet. If you want to go in, chuckmccann.net, just go in there. And I'll put that up for you to see, because it's something else. I mean, there's just great clowns in it, great stuff in it, great early television.
Wonderful. Well, Chuck, we have something that we'd like to give you this evening. I can invite Brian Cole back up.
Kick in the room.
Tomorrow, Chuck will be in the lobby outside the puppetry store. His book is for sale out in the lobby. And it'll be sold, for sale outside the puppetry store. He'll do a signing between 11 and 1. And I need to say that my generation, this is the man who inspired us to become puppeteers. We're not the Henson generation, it's Chuck.
You're here.
Very lucky. That's all.
Hi, guys.
How you doing? Mr. McCann, for your wonderful work, the Puppeteers of America would like to present you with a award.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
God bless you.
I couldn't do anything in my whole life without that lady right down there. That's my wife, Betty. Without her, I'd have been dead years ago.
Chuck, do you think later when everybody comes down to get the book, you can put on Laurel and Huggy Farm and do a little bit?
Sure, absolutely.
You guys are just...
This lady, by the way, no. Out here. Yeah. This lady is one of the great puppeteers I've ever met in my life. Breathes, eats, and sleeps with puppets. And I love her so much. I'm telling you, if it wasn't for that lady down there.